We live in a world of symbols. They're silent languages that tell us where to go, what to do, and how to feel. But the most powerful symbols are the ones that make us feel good. And this might be the best one of all. It's a symbol of hope, a promise, a sign that we're doing the right thing. You've done your part. But what if I told you this symbol, this promise, is built on a lie? What if I told you this icon wasn't just misunderstood, but was cleverly stolen, twisted, and weaponized to hide an uncomfortable truth, and has become one of the biggest sources of contamination in our entire recycling system? The story of these three arrows starts with the idealism of a college student on the very first Earth Day, but it ends with corporate greenwashing, a global crisis, and a broken system. This is the unseen and unbelievable story of the recycling symbol. To understand the symbol, you have to understand the moment it was born, the late 1960s. This was an era of consequences. The post-war boom of consumerism and disposable products had come with a heavy bill. Rivers were catching fire. Smog was choking cities. People were starting to see the environmental cost of progress. Then, on April 22, 1970, a spark, the first Earth Day. 20 million Americans took to the streets. It was a massive, nationwide awakening. And in the middle of this excitement, a Chicago-based company called the Container Corporation of America, a large producer of recycled paperboard, decided to sponsor a contest. They wanted a symbol for the recycling process. Enter Gary Anderson. He was a 23-year-old architecture student at the University of South California. He wasn't a graphic designer. He was just a student with a brilliant idea. In a single day, inspired by a looping graphic he'd seen and the mind-bending art of M.C. Escher, he created an icon. His inspiration was the Mobius strip, a fascinating object with only one side and one edge, a symbol of an infinite, continuous loop. It was the perfect metaphor. He drew three arrows creased like paper, chasing each other in an endless cycle, each arrow representing a crucial step. Step 1. Collection. You put your recyclables in the bin. Step 2. Manufacturing. The material is processed into a new product. Step 3. Purchase. You buy products made from recycled materials, closing the loop. It was simple. It was elegant. It was brilliant. He won the contest, got about $2,000, and left to study in Sweden, having no idea what his design would become. The symbol entered the public domain, free for anyone to use, and for a while it was used as intended, on recycled paper. But another industry was watching, an industry with a massive public relations problem, the plastics industry. By the 1980s, plastic was everywhere, and so was the backlash against plastic waste. With municipalities considering plastic bans, the industry needed a shield. They couldn't stop people from buying plastic, but they could stop them from feeling guilty about it. So, in 1988, the Society of the Plastics Industry, or SPI, executed a stroke of marketing genius. They took Gary Anderson's beautiful open-source symbol of recycling and put a number in the middle of it, from 1 to 7. They called this the Resin Identification Code System. And right here, this is the moment the lie was born. Because that symbol with a number in it was never intended to tell the consumer that the item was recyclable. Let me say that again. The number inside the arrows does not mean recyclable. It was created by the plastics industry for the recycling industry. The number simply identifies the type of plastic resin or polymer the item is made from. It was a technical code for workers at sorting facilities because you can't melt down different plastics together. But to the public, it looked exactly like the symbol they already knew. People saw the chasing arrows and naturally assumed, oh, I can recycle this. The plastics industry had successfully shifted the massive burden of waste from their shoulders onto yours. This confusion led to a massive problem that plagues us to this day, a problem called wish cycling. Wish cycling is putting something in the recycling bin, hoping it can be recycled, even if you're not sure. But it's one of the worst things you can do. Those flimsy plastic bags, they jam the giant sorting machinery, forcing entire facilities to shut down for hours. That greasy pizza box, it can contaminate an entire bale of clean cardboard, rendering it worthless. But for decades, Western countries had a dirty little secret. We weren't actually recycling most of our plastic. We were just shipping our problems somewhere else. For years, China was the world's dumping ground. We sent them millions of tons of our mixed, often contaminated plastic waste, out of sight, out of mind, until 2018. China launched its national sword policy, banning the import of most foreign plastic waste. It was an environmental earthquake. Suddenly, countries like the US, Canada, and the UK were drowning in their own trash with nowhere to send it. The crisis exposed the fragile illusion we'd been living in. Our domestic recycling infrastructure was a fantasy, completely unequipped to handle the sheer volume of plastic we consume. So, with the illusion shattered, what's the real story? Which plastics are actually getting recycled? Let's break down the codes. Number 1, PET, and number 2, HDPE. These are the stars of the show. Think water bottles, soda bottles, milk jugs, and laundry detergent containers. There's a strong, reliable market for these. They have a real chance of becoming something new. Now we get to the tricky ones. Number 5, polypropylene. Yogurt cups, some takeout containers. While technically recyclable, the market is tiny and unstable. The vast majority of this ends up in a landfill. Number 3, PVC. Number 4, LDPE. Number 6, polystyrene. This is where it gets bad. PVC is a recycling nightmare. LDPE is your flimsy plastic bags that jam machines. Polystyrene or styrofoam is light, bulky, often contaminated with food, and has almost zero value. It's basically landfill bound. And number 7, that just means other. It's a catch-all category for everything else. It's a complete gamble. In short, it's not recyclable. The reality is only plastics number 1 and number 2 have a reasonably good chance. For almost everything else, that chasing arrow symbol is just decoration. It's a tool of mass confusion. Gary Anderson, the man who designed the symbol, has expressed his own complex feelings about his creation. He designed it to be a pure representation of a beautiful idea. He never intended it to be used to mislead millions. Today, there's a movement to reclaim the symbol's meaning. States like California are passing laws that make it illegal to use the chasing arrow symbol on items that aren't actually recyclable in most of the state. Designers are proposing new, clearer labels that tell you a simple yes or no. And a new concept is gaining ground: Extended Producer Responsibility, or EPR. It's a simple, powerful idea. The companies that create the packaging should be financially responsible for managing it at the end of its life. It forces them to design products that are easier and cheaper to recycle from the very beginning. The 3 chasing arrows are a powerful lesson. They show that design is never neutral. A symbol's meaning can be changed, twisted, and co-opted. It started as a simple sketch, a student's vision of a closed loop where nothing is wasted. It became a global icon of environmental aspiration. But it also became a shield for corporate interests and a source of deep confusion. So, what's the real meaning of the recycling symbol today? Maybe it's a challenge to look past the simple promise of the arrows and to ask the harder questions, to demand clearer information, better systems, and more responsibility from the companies that make the products we use. The first step in truly closing the loop is understanding it. What's one product you've always been confused about recycling? Share it in the comments below. Let's see if we can build a clearer picture together. And until then, Keep questioning the unseen.